Brought to you by WikiVidi documentaries. Sheriff. A sheriff is a government official, with varying duties, existing in some countries with historical ties to England, where the office originated. There is an analogous although independently developed office in Iceland that is commonly translated to English as sheriff. And this is discussed below. Description. Historically, a sheriff was a legal official with responsibility for a shire, or county. In modern times, the specific combination of legal, political and ceremonial duties of a sheriff varies greatly from country to country. Term. The word sheriff is a contraction of the term shire reeve. The term, from the Old English, designated a royal official responsible for keeping the peace throughout a shire or county on behalf of the king. The term was preserved in England notwithstanding the Norman conquest. From the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, the term spread to several other regions, at an early point to Scotland, latterly to Ireland and to the United States. In British English, the political or legal office of a sheriff, term of office of a sheriff, or jurisdiction of a sheriff, is called a shrievalty in England and Wales, and a sheriffdom in Scotland. The Arabic term, sometimes rendered, bears no historical or etymological connection. Canada. Most provinces and territories in Canada operate a sheriff's service. Sheriffs are primarily concerned with services such as courtroom security, post-arrest prisoner transfer, serving legal processes and executing civil judgments. Sheriffs are defined under Section 2 of the Criminal Code as peace officers. Sheriff's duties in Ontario deal only with serving legal processes and executing civil judgments. They do not perform court security-related duties. Court security functions are handled by the jurisdictional police in which the courthouse is located. In other parts of Canada, where sheriff services do not exist, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police perform these duties. Quebec has a two-tiered court security system, where armed provincial special constables perform court security and the provincial correctional officers perform prisoner escort/transport duties. Alberta. In 2006, the province of Alberta expanded the duties of the Alberta Sheriff's Branch to include tasks such as court security and prisoner transport, traffic enforcement, executive protection and some investigation functions. As of June 2008, the Alberta Sheriff's Branch consists of 105 traffic sheriffs who are assigned to one of 7 regions in the province. Sheriffs also assist various police services in Alberta with prisoner management. Nova Scotia. In the province of Nova Scotia, the Sheriff's Service focuses on the safety and security of the judiciary, court staff, the public, and persons in custody. There are local sheriffs for every county in Nova Scotia, numbering over 200 in total. They work with up to 20,000 inmates and travel over 2 million kilometers in a year. Sheriffs are responsible for court security, the transportation of prisoners to and from institutions and all levels of court, the service of some civil and criminal documents, and the execution of court orders. Iceland. In Iceland, sheriffs, syslumenn, are administrators of the state, holders of the executive power in their jurisdiction, and heads of their sheriff's office. Sheriffs are in charge of certain legal matters that typically involve registration of some sort and executing the orders of the court. The duties of the sheriffs differ slightly depending on their jurisdiction, but they can be broadly categorized as: there are 24 sheriffs and sheriff jurisdictions in Iceland. The jurisdictions are not defined by the administrative divisions of Iceland, but are mainly a mixture of counties and municipalities. The post of sheriff was mandated by the Old Covenant, an agreement between the Icelandic Commonwealth and the Kingdom of Norway. The agreement, which was ratified between 1262 and 1264, makes the post of sheriff the oldest secular position of government still operating in Iceland. India. Among cities in India, only Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai, the 3 former British presidencies, have had a sheriff, first established in the 1700s based on the English high sheriffs. They were the executive arm of the judiciary, responsible for assembling jurors, bringing people to trial, supervising the jailing of prisoners and seizing and selling property. After the mid-1800s, the responsibilities and powers of the role were reduced and the positions became ceremonial. The sheriffs of Mumbai and Kolkata still exist, although the post in Chennai was abolished in 1998. In present times, the sheriff has an apolitical, non-executive role, presides over various city-related functions and conferences and welcomes foreign guests. The post is second to the mayor in the protocol list. Republic of Ireland. Sheriffs have been appointed in Ireland since the Norman conquest to enforce court judgments. In the modern day, a sheriff is an officer who collects taxes on behalf of the Collector General. There are 16 sheriffs in the country, 2 in Dublin, 2 in Cork City and 12 for the rest of the country. These 12 sheriffs are also county registrars. Sheriffs enforce the repayment of a debt which has been specified by court order. This can be in the form of payment or, failing that, in the removal and subsequent disposal of assets. Sheriff's Principal. The most senior sheriffs are the Sheriff's Principal, who have administrative as well as judicial authority in the 6 sheriffdoms, and are responsible for the effective running and administration of all the sheriff courts in their jurisdiction. Sheriff's Principal also sit as appeal sheriffs in the Sheriff Appeal Court, hearing appeals against sentencing and conviction from summary trials in the sheriff courts and justice of the peace courts. The additional duties of a Sheriff Principal include being commissioners of the Northern Lighthouse Board and chairing local criminal justice boards, which bring together local representatives of Procurator Fiscal, Police Scotland, and Community Justice Scotland, and Scottish Courts and Tribunals Service. Sheriffs. Sheriffs deal with the majority of civil and criminal court cases in Scotland, with the power to preside in solemn proceedings with a jury of 15 for indictable offences and sitting alone in summary proceedings for summary offences. A sheriff must be legally qualified, and have been qualified as an advocate or solicitor for at least 10 years. The maximum sentencing power of sheriff in summary proceedings is 12 months imprisonment, or a fine of up to £10,000. In solemn proceedings, the maximum sentence is 5 years imprisonment, or an unlimited fine. Sheriffs also preside over fatal accident inquiries, which are convened to examine the circumstances around sudden or suspicious deaths, including those who die in the course of employment, in custody, or in secure accommodation. Summary sheriffs. Summary sheriffs hear civil cases brought under simple procedure and criminal cases brought under summary proceedings. Their sentencing powers are identical to a sheriff sitting in summary proceedings. South Africa. In South Africa, the sheriffs are officers of the court and function as the executive arm of the court. They are responsible for serving court processes like summonses and subpoenas. They play an important role in the execution of court orders like the attachments of immovable and movable property, evictions, demolitions, etc. The Sheriffs Act 90 of 1986, which came into operation on the 1st of March 1990, governs the profession. A sheriff is appointed by the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development in terms of Section 2 of the Act. United States. In the United States, the scope of a sheriff varies across states and counties. The sheriff is most often an elected county official who serves as the law enforcement organ of the county or parish court. The sheriff enforces court orders and mandates, typically serving as the chief civil law enforcement officer of their jurisdiction. The sheriff's duties may include such functions as performing evictions, seizing property and assets pursuant to court orders, and serving warrants and legal papers. In some counties where urban areas have their own police departments, a sheriff may be restricted to such civil procedure enforcement duties, while in other counties, the sheriff may serve as the principal police force and have jurisdiction over all of the county's municipalities, regardless if they have their own city or town/township police department. A sheriff often administers the county jails and is responsible for court security functions within their jurisdiction. Brought to you by WikiVidi documentaries. Would you like to know more?